Donald Trump did end up having a press briefing yesterday after not having them over the weekend after the bleach injection fiasco led to him just walking out without taking questions from the Friday press briefing. And it was a really weird one yesterday. First, it was scheduled as normal for 5 p.m. as a White House coronavirus task force press briefing. Then it was canceled. Then very haphazardly, a Rose Garden press conference was scheduled to replace the press briefing. And to Trump's credit, he did take questions. But for whatever reason, there was one question that was even remotely connected to the bleach injection fiasco. I've been asking around whether reporters were warned off of asking questions about the bleach fiasco or what. But in any case, the one question that was asked was about the number of disinfectant ingestion related phone calls to poison control centers across the country, which have increased. Does Trump take any responsibility was the question. Big shocker. He does not take any responsibility. Take a look at the video.
Governor Larry Hogan specifically said they've seen a spike in people using disinfectant after your comments last week. I know you said they were sarcastic.
I can't imagine why. I can't imagine why. Yeah.
Take any responsibility?
No, I don't. No, I can't imagine. I can't imagine that. Yeah, go ahead, please.
President.
He can't imagine why. Well, because he wondered aloud, what if we hit the body with an injected disinfectant just 4 days ago? That's why the question is being posed to him. And we're now learning of many more instances of this. The reporter there mentioned Maryland, the increase in Maryland of calls to poison control related to the ingestion of household cleaners. We also have some news out of Kansas. In Kansas, a state health officer, Lee Norman, said poison control saw a 40% increase in cleaning chemical related cases in the last few days, including one guy who drank a product because someone suggested it. We don't know whether that someone was Donald Trump, someone who heard it from Donald Trump, or just a mere coincidence and not related to Donald Trump at all. So here's what I want to ask you about. I've been reading the new defense online from mostly people on the right, but even from some people on the left kind of agreeing here. And they've been saying, if you are so dumb that you drink bleach because the president mentions it as a possible coronavirus treatment, you don't deserve to survive. In other words, it's a sort of Darwinian thinning of the herd type of thing, even though it's obviously not really Darwinian, but it's colloquially named that. If you are this dumb that simply because Trump talks about drinking bleach, you do it, that it is a culling of the weak, thinning of the herd sort of thing, and that we shouldn't really worry about it. And it reminds me of this idea that if you want to thin the herd, you get rid of the warning labels and just let it happen. So what do you think? I mean, my reaction tends to be, I don't condemn the conned, I condemn the con men. So it feels weird to me just writing it off that way. It's not it's not the job of the president. It's not excusable that a president says things that goad dumb people, if that's what you believe they are, into killing themselves. There's a very sort of utilitarian reaction, which is that a lot of the people aren't dying. They're just getting sick enough from drinking bleach that they need to go into the hospital. They require medical services. They consume medical resources. And it's taking hospital space away from people who actually just have coronavirus. That would be a very utilitarian reaction. But a lot of people tweeting me, and this seems to be the predominant reaction, the contempt must be for the con men, not for the conned. Ignoring the plight of those who are conned is not particularly progressive. And I agree with that. I want to hear from you. Bigger picture, regardless of the conned, we can objectively say a president shouldn't be floating such ideas, period, regardless of the impact that they have. One other reaction has been, if you only harm yourself, then we should be less concerned. It's not even clear to me that people who fall for this stuff are only harming themselves. They may be suggesting other people do it. They may be harming themselves in a way that then can leave their children without a parent. The idea of only harming yourself is one that we would have to grapple with a little more distinctly. Overall, though, people hope to be able to trust the office of the presidency. Until now, many people have been told you can trust the office of the presidency. So maybe the problem isn't with the people, but with a system that has allowed trust in the office of the presidency to be so exploited by a con man like Donald Trump, blaming the frightened masses, so to speak, as one person said to me on Twitter, rather than those with the institutional power, doesn't strike me as progressive. And I agree with that, but I want to hear from you. One of our sponsors today is a game called Lawgivers, a turn-based political simulation game for PC, iOS, and Android. If you've ever wanted to start a political party or run for office or shape the destiny of our country, here's your chance. I've been having a ton of fun with the game. You do get to experience legislative democracy up close, and the dynamics of the game are really impressive. You make election promises to your constituents. It's up to you whether you keep those promises when you're in office. All of the laws you pass affect your country's happiness and safety, healthcare, environment. You can abolish laws that are already in place. You can ratify the Constitution. You decide if you want the government to be a healthy democracy or authoritarian tyranny. You can be corrupt and take bribes. Political assassinations are part of the game. It's nuts, actually. It's a really good time. It doesn't get old because you'll never play it the same way twice. This is not some cheesy free-to-play game. It's very clear that a lot of time went into the development. It has very positive reviews on Steam and in the app stores, 4.5 stars or higher on all platforms. Go to davidpakman.com/game, which is where you can watch the trailer, download the game for Steam, iOS, and Android. That's davidpakman.com/game.